Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to tonight's meeting of the Burlington City Council. Today is March 20th, 2018. I'd like to take a moment to ask everyone to please silence all electronic devices. Small children all around. At this time, we call on Councilmember Harold Owen for tonight's invocation.
He's the mayor, but he can't actually do that now, okay? Let's bow our head and pray, please. Heavenly Father, in your word you have given us a vision of that holy city to which the nations of the world bring their glory. In this day when our community and so many other communities in our country is dealing with what we believe to be senseless violence, renew the ties of mutual regard which form our civic life. Guide the members of this governing body to be able leaders. Enable all of us to formulate a community where peace may prevail, justice with order, and that men and women from different cultures and differing talents may find with one another the fulfillment of their humanity. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, amen.
Amen. We have a special recognition this evening. I'd like to call forward Mr. Tommy Cole. On behalf of the City Council tonight, it is my honor to present this proclamation in recognition of Coach Tommy Cole. For those of you who may not be familiar with Tommy Cole, whereas Tommy Cole is a native of Alamance County and a 1968 graduate of Walter Williams High School in Burlington, North Carolina. And whereas while playing basketball at Walter Williams High School from 1965 to 1968, Tommy was named All-Conference, All-State, and All-American, and was one of only 3 players in school history to have his jersey retired. And whereas Tommy attended Elon College on a full basketball scholarship from 1968 to 1972, where he was twice named All-Conference Player of the Year and All-American, was the school's 2nd leading scorer and presently holds the record for the most assists. And whereas Tommy's Elon College jersey is one of only 2 in the school's history to have ever been retired. And whereas after completing his playing career, Tommy went on to begin a high school basketball coaching career at home in Alamance County. And whereas Tommy leads teams at Grand High School and Walter Williams High School to state basketball championships in addition to securing a state runner-up over 2,000 conference, sectional, and regional championship titles at Walter Williams High School during his illustrious coaching career. Now, therefore, the Burlington City Council hereby deems it an honor and pleasure to extend this proclamation to Coach Tommy Cole in recognition of his contributions to student athletes and exceeding 700 wins over the past 4 decades. Congratulations. Anyone in the audience would like to also take a photo up here? Get a little better angle. Stay on the podium in the way.
Maybe you'll get a council.
This is our principal.
Just get a council.
There you go.
Smile pretty.
Congratulations
better job.
I wouldn't go after
responsibility.
A lot of it.
Two of them.
Thank you. We have another special recognition tonight, and for that, I'd like to recognize City Manager Harold Hardwalker.
I'm going to ask our Assistant Chief of Police, Eric Kearns, if he'd just please stand up. You can stand up where you are if you don't mind. Many know this, many may not know this. Eric Kearns has been our Assistant Police Chief since 2012, and he's going to retire on April 1st. And with over 30 years of service to the city, and we're really, really sad to see him go. Let me share just a little bit with you about Eric. And he's most everyone knows this. He's a lifelong resident of Burlington. He started with the city here in the police department back in 1989. In 2012, became our assistant police chief. He's currently over the Operations Bureau, which includes patrol, community relations, and communications. And like I said, he'll retire April 1st and 30 years of service. And we thought this would be a good time. Not sure he would be back for another city council meeting, so we thought it'd be a good time for us to let him stand up and be recognized. And if y'all would all join me and give him a round of applause for his. Thank you.
You really sure he'll be gone with a retirement on April 1st? At this time, we recognize our city clerk, Renee Ward.
Members of council, it's my responsibility to remind you of our duty to avoid conflicts of interest. I ask if there are any potential conflicts concerning tonight's agenda items.
None.
Before council are minutes from the March 6th, 2018 city council meeting. Do I hear a motion and second for those minutes?
Move we approve the minutes.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Minutes have been approved. Before council is our agenda. Do I hear a motion and second regarding the agenda?
Make a motion, we adopt the agenda as written.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Agenda has been approved. Next is our consent agenda. These items are typically non-controversial. If anyone has any questions, please let us know. Item A, to approve a request to close the following streets on May 5th, 2018, from 6:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. for B-Town Events 2018 Burlington Active City Street Special Event. The details are spelled out in your agenda. Item B, to set a date of public hearing on April 3rd, 2018 for citizens to comment on the 2018-2019 CDBG and Home Annual Action Plans. Item C, Budget Amendment 2018-32, Police RICO Appropriations, the details of which are spelled out in your agenda. Do I hear a motion and second regarding the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Consent agenda has been approved. We have one public hearing tonight. Item 1, a public hearing has been set to consider an application to rezone from R9 Residential District to RM Residential Mobile Home District. The property is located at 732 West Old Glencoe Road, referenced as Alamance County Tax Identification Number 12811. At this time, we recognize Director of Planning and Community Development, Amy Nelson.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor and Council. This rezoning request comes to you with the recommendation of staff. Our Planning and Zoning Commission recommended it to you unanimously. It's basically the exact same situation you had last time, where we've got someone who wants to place a mobile home on a lot. There are a few mobile homes that are in the area, and as I said, staff has no issues with it. The comprehensive plan requires or calls for residential in the area, and of course this is just another form of residential. It's a little more affordable than traditional housing. The request is for a straight rezoning. Thus, we would ask that council consider all potential uses in that district, as I said the last time. Staff has no problems with any of those uses that are listed in your agenda packets. So at this time, Mr. Edward Whitman is here to speak to the request that he has.
Okay. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Edward Whitman. As she said, we're looking at going a more affordable route. You know, I got a small, cheap child, and we're just looking at more options. We haven't really decided yet, but we're just looking at more options. And we've looked at modulars, we looked at stick-built, and we just like to get it rezoned.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you.
All right, any questions from council?
Yes, I have a lot of questions about this one. I unfortunately was not able to get out there to see this before we put it up for public hearing. And it seems to me that this is the only, there's one mobile home in that area.
There are 6 that are in that vicinity.
How far away are you saying vicinity? Because I did not see any.
Some of them are hard to see because they're back, further back. There's one here. Let's see, I went through this a few weeks ago. I believe there's one over in here. Here's one. And there's one back here as well. So it does total around 6 mobile homes that I counted, and then our zoning administrator also went through there and counted them up.
But across the street from this, on Lakeside Avenue, all of that is R9. Those are all fairly new houses. And
Yes.
that whole Brassfield subdivision is behind that. So that seems to me to be developing as single-family houses. The only reason that I could see to do this is it doesn't look like that land is really developable. I mean, it's a very tough piece of property, at least the one that's already zoned RM.
Yes.
But other thing, there are single-family homes all along Old Glen Cove Road as well.
There are, yes, quite a few.
The other thing is that in our land use plan, we talked about that as being possible neighborhood, some kind of amenity in that area, which would be covered there, so that would also change that as well.
Well, the thing is, you've got a collection of homes. The neighborhood commercial that you spoke of would be right in this area, and there are multiple homes that are in that area that would also have to go if that were to take place. That's looking down the road. It's just an idea of what might happen, what might be good in that area. It's not required to go that way. It could still develop that way piecemeal. You could have a piece on this corner that would go that way. You could have this corner go that way. It's not anything that's going to happen like all at once. It would take place gradually, unless a developer came in and bought up a huge swath of land and did that. And there's really no major commercial viability for something like that, in my opinion. Anything that would occur, there's nothing on this lot at this time. The house has been torn down. So if it were to remain vacant, it's serving no purpose. This way, at least it does have some purpose. It serves a purpose for this family at this time, and in the future, it can always be changed hands and develop in a different way. But residential is perfectly allowable within that neighborhood commercial.
Any other council questions before we get public hearing? All right, this is a public hearing. If anyone on this side of the room would like to speak. Sure. And if you could state your name and address.
My name's Mark Whitman. My address is 2121 Carroll Drive, Elon. And I'm here on behalf, that's my son asking for the rezoning. And some of you may not know, all the land in behind that that's really nothing on, that's farmland that my wife and I own. It came from her family. All this was family land. The lot right beside of it, which my son's trying to purchase from, belongs to my wife's uncle and aunt. So there's really nobody around there that has any objections to this. So,
All right.
okay.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else on this side of the room who would like to speak? Anyone on this side of the room who would like to speak? All right. Do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Do I hear any council questions or a motion?
You didn't hear anything from any of the people on Lakeside Avenue?
We had a few people call in to ask what was going on. I believe one person thought there might be a major subdivision going in. Another person was concerned that there was going to be a mobile home park going in, and neither of those things is happening at this time anyway.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion regarding the request?
I'd make a motion that we approve this request based upon consistency with the comprehensive land use plan, that this action is reasonable and in public interest, and that the amendment is compatible with the existing land uses in the area.
Do I hear a second to that?
Second.
All right. Any questions about the motion as stated? All those in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion is passed. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Moves us to item 2 on our agenda, new business. City Council will consider a proposed amendment to sewer agreement of March 21st, 2005 between the City of Burlington and the town of Gibsonville to allow Gibsonville to accept wastewater flow from the town of Whitsett. This time we recognize Water Resources Director Bob Patterson.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we're here to look at amending the agreement with the town of Gibsonville so that they can provide sewer service to Whitsett. Mayor Williams is here on behalf of Gibsonville. As you recall, about a year ago, the town of Whitsett came to us and requested a sewer allocation. There was a interest in development of a parcel along Highway 70, and they needed sewer service in order to develop it. So through discussions with council, and then council subsequently approved an agreement with Whitsett to provide them a sewer allocation. And at that time, it was discussed that Whitsett would extend sewer from our outfall that ends at the edge of Springwood Park through this draw up to serve this property. There's a high point or a ridge line about the middle of the property, so in order to serve under that scenario, they would require a pump station to pump sewage from the front of from the land fronting Highway 70 back to the back. Whitsett also had some thoughts about this might open up Highway 70 for a little bit of development also, which would be served by that pump station. So we approved, that agreement was approved, and an allocation of 40,000 gallons a day to the south plant was provided to Whitsett. Whitsett hired an engineer to look at that scenario, came up with some cost estimates, and their engineer identified an option that would save about $500,000 in construction costs to Whitsett, and would also eliminate the pump station and long-term maintenance and operation and maintenance costs of the pump station. That involved running a gravity line to the front of the property along Highway 70 and tying into Gibsonville's sewer line to serve that portion of the property, and then a second gravity line from the back of the property tying into the Lindley subdivision, also in Gibsonville's line. So in December, we talked about that, and in January of this year, council approved the amendment of that agreement to allow Whitsett to send their sewage to Gibsonville. And so the second part of that, our agreement that was agreed upon in 2005 with Gibsonville requires Gibsonville to have Burlington's permission to serve another municipal customer. So we worked with Gibsonville and Mr. Huffman to draft an agreement, an amendment to the 2005 agreement to provide the ability for Gibsonville to to accept Witsit sewage flow at these specific locations along Highway 70 at Frizzell Drive and at the rear of the Lindley subdivision in the area of Winterbow Drive. So that is what we have before you today.
Any questions regarding the request?
And Gibsonville has reviewed the agreement, and they were accepting of.
Do I hear a motion regarding this request?
I move we approve the proposed amendment.
Any questions regarding the motion? All those in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
We have no public comments this evening. Do I hear any council comments?
Just about the St. Patrick's Day event, a wonderful effort by the Parks and Recreation. It was quite amazing because so many young families with children were there, and then it just seemed like everybody in Burlington was there. It was really pretty terrific. Well done. And the other thing is, I noticed the health outcomes came out recently and mentioned that Alamance County was number 50, I think, out of 100. But I did notice that in the area of activities or the kinds of things that would keep people active, we were like at the top of that. So I feel like we could take a little credit for we're at least trying to get people out doing things that keep them active. So.
Excellent. Couple quick announcements. As I mentioned last meeting, bulk waste collection is free up until August 27th. So if you're looking to do a little spring cleaning, now that it's officially spring out there, even though it may not feel like it, those bulk collection fees are waived until April 27th. Animal shelter construction begins very soon, and that will take about 18 months to complete. And then over this month, we've had Community Improvement Program community meetings, and we appreciate everyone who participated in those and the ongoing efforts to improve the appearance of our city. Mark your calendars. March 31st is Egg Extravaganza down at City Park. I'll be down there, and we're hoping for some more beautiful weather for that event. The Paramount Theater officially began online ticket sales. If you're looking to see a show in the upcoming future, you can now order your tickets online. Just got easier to appreciate good theater in our community. And then upcoming is our boards and commissions application deadline, April 1st. You can sign up online. That's a great way to get involved in the community, give back, and make a difference in all types of different areas, from housing to recreation and much, much more. And then I want to extend a special thank you to staff. I had the opportunity today to go to a ribbon cutting over at Burlington Christian Academy. They dedicated their new high school building, and they had very positive things to say about their interactions with staff during the construction phase for permitting and inspections, and that helped them tremendously during the process. So we always love to hear that feedback from the community, and we appreciate the work the staff does every single day for our citizens and our programs. Any other comments from council?
Mr. Mayor, I think it would be appropriate to mention that you and I both attended the National League of Cities conference last week in Washington. And it's an opportunity for, of course, the conference itself, but it's even a really better opportunity to meet with our representatives or in some situations, the staff of our representatives who really you can talk about issues. First, let me say the staff here did a wonderful job in preparing advocacy issues that we covered. And I'm going to hit a couple of them, and Mayor, you may want to get the rest. But the Community Development Block Grant Fund program, we talked to representatives, and we spoke with John McDonald of Senator Burr's office, David Simmons of Senator Tillis' office, Ron Walker, I spoke with him, with Congressman Walker's office, and we met with Congressman Price's Chief Legislative Director, Sean Maxwell, and they still have a real interest in our community. The CDBG, we got comments from each of them, I believe, very much in support of that. because they saw that as people who was trying to help people who were trying to help themselves. And I know we advocated that while you had certain restrictions and so forth, that it was a situation where the cities could make the determination how that money is to be spent as a result of public hearings where people in the community would tell us how they wanted the money spent. And that went well with everyone. Also, there seems to be a glimmer of hope on the support of the e-fairness legislation, which in terms of sales tax on online expenditures. Each one of the representatives, I think that it's a huge issue. It's a lot more difficult than it seems. I understand from an administrative side, but I think all of them now are beginning to see how important that is in reference to the impact it has on your local vendors and just a fairness concept across the board. And finally, the DOG grants cover. We spoke to them especially about what's going on now at the federal level with freezing some of the JAG grant money as a result of the sanctuary cities issue going on. And I know I asked the people in a couple offices just how many sanctuary cities are there, and can't there be some movement made? And I think the mayor did also for the communities who are not involved in that. So this money could be awarded. If I'm not mistaken, over my years, all that money normally went to police to buy special equipment and so forth, which is badly needed for the officers. Am I not correct? Chief, on the way out, Kearns?
Yes, sir. We use JAG money, all we can get.
That's right.
We had some great conversations, as Harold mentioned. One of the other items we talked about was historic tax credits and the impact those have had on our community, as council has approved projects related to the May Hosiery Mill, and as we continue to work on other sites around our community, including Western Electric. And we're excited to share some of the work Peter's been doing on Western Electric, including the recent award of the SDAT grant. And so the congressmen and senators were both excited to hear about the work that we're doing as a community.
And also, they were very excited to hear about the bus system.
Yeah.
How effective it's been and kind of the way it was started in terms of being user-friendly. Mayor, they were very happy to see Gibsonville as part of this, and it was unable for us to reach out to all of the communities and across the board. I think that was support for that.
And with all the talk up in Washington right now about infrastructure, we were excited to be there at a National League of Cities with other municipal leaders from around the country, all talking about the impact we have day in and day out on the infrastructure of our country. So, and the bus system is a great example of that. Any other questions? Any other comments? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor, I'd ask the council for a closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-31811A5 for the consideration of acquisition of an interest in real property currently owned by Burlington Land Holdings, LLC. Property's Alamance parcel ID number 14962. And it's for the public purpose of extending the Haw River Trail across this property on the south side of the Haw River.
What's the parcel identification?
I'll give it to you, 14962. I need a motion if I could.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Yep. Second?
Second.
All those in favor of entering closed session, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Council will enter closed session and will return following that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mayor.